Oh, hey, excuse me, do you know where the bathroom is?
Who are you? You look vaguely familiar.
Oh, I'm Dave from Interpreting the Stars.
Your hair, is it real?
What's wrong with her, man? I don't really have that much hair.
Right. What was your name?
Like I said, it's Dave from Interpreting the Stars. Hello.
That's quite fabulous.
Thanks. Here's the review. Hey, what's up and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today I'm going to be talking about the latest Disney live-action remake to hit theaters and Disney Plus Premier Access. It's Cruella. Cruella tells the origin story of one of the biggest love-to-hate Disney villains of all time, Cruella de Vil. Before she was a feared hater of animals, Cruella was known as Estella, an orphan with dreams of one day becoming big in the name of fashion. She begins working for the Baroness, a no-nonsense fashion expert with a killer instinct to do what needs to be done. Something dark and long hidden in Estella begins to rear its ugly head. Tell you what, I didn't know what to expect from Cruella, but I definitely didn't expect this. I'd seen a lot of other folks say that this was their favorite Disney live-action remake, and I had to scoff that off, simply because this isn't a remake of anything. You want a remake of 101 Dalmatians? They already have that. That was actually Disney's very first live-action remake, if you want to call it that. Cruella is simply put a prequel slash spin-off slash reimagining that introduces a well-known villain in the same vein of Maleficent. But even Maleficent was a remake. It was just presented with a different perspective. This is just an origin story, so it's hard for me to include it in the same list of the others, but, in a way it works. And people are indeed correct when they say that this is either one of the, or the best, live-action Disney remake. And I'll try to explain why. When thinking back to those 101 Dalmatian films, I have to say that they don't immediately feel nostalgic for me. I think those stories are fine, but when it came down to Disney, I related it a lot more with other films. So I felt at best Cruella would feel like that. But I might make the argument that this is better than the cartoon or live-action versions of 101 Dalmatians, because there was so much more focus on certain things like production design, set design, hair and makeup, cinematography, editing, soundtrack, everything. I think my entire behind-the-scenes category scored perfect points here. It knew exactly what it wanted to be and what it wanted to atmospherically feel like. That's another thing. Even though this is arguably much darker and edgier than those fluffy 101 Dalmatian movies that kids love, I weirdly enough fully believe that this took place or could take place in the same universe, which was a similar feeling that I got when I watched the Joker movie, that, Batman could eventually show up and battle Joaquin Phoenix's version of the Joker. So a lot of that had to do with acting, and I'm gonna say it. This is the best acting I've ever seen from Emma Stone. She really gives it her all here, and as soon as she got this sultry British accent thing going on, there was no doubt in my mind that her performance alone would be the selling point for this film. And even if you're a diehard fan of Glenn Close's Cruella, I'm telling you right now that Emma Stone kills it as this absolutely troubled and even crazy character who's often holding back an explosion of emotion, and how difficult she finds that to be, especially because being cruel is in her nature. So her performance, in addition to the solid use of visuals, cinematography, editing, and music, makes Cruella a very good Disney film that's worth the watch, especially if the tried and true remake formula leaves a distaste in your mouth. Personally, I don't have a ton of negatives for this film. I really don't. I don't think it's a perfect film or a masterpiece, not by a long shot. There's a few elements in the film that I'm sure could have been, approached better, but I couldn't find one thing in the movie that specifically felt bad. So take that as you will, and take a look at my final score. From a technical vantage point, the main areas that stand out to me definitely comes down to the visuals, as this is a very, artsy kind of film. It tries desperately to get things right in the costume department, hair and makeup, production design, and the like. It's a very visually appealing film in general. The cinematography and editing gives this film an ambience that is, at least to me, incredibly welcome. The music choice is also very interesting, because this is definitely an era-type film where it takes place in the past, but they're often using modern/current music choices, which I thought worked wonders here. Past that, Emma Stone's performance as well as everybody else's really was all worth the mention. This technical unbiased score is 92%. My bias score, or how I felt about the film in general, is a little bit higher because I was honestly kind of blown away by how good it actually was. I feel like it has no right to be this good, but here we are. There was 2 movies that came out this same weekend, Cruella and A Quiet Place 2, and I can't speak for A Quiet Place 2 as I have not seen that yet, but I fully expected that to be better than Cruella, and now I'm honestly kind of questioning that. My bias score here is 94%, and when we average out the 2 scores together, we come to the final rating of 93%, 93 out of 100 possible stars, or an A letter grade. I'm as surprised as you are, but they did a lot right here. When I initially questioned Emma Stone's casting, I now think that she was perfectly cast, that she was essentially born to play this role. What about you, though? Did you think that this was a really good Disney live-action remake? Let me know in the comments down below. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with the next review. And until then, peace out.
Dave examines movies we just watch for fun. Davey is the expert. He is the #1 critic that I go to when I need a movie pick. Thanks for joining up with us.